The following video was filmed in the kitchen of Daniel, a man who had recently divorced his wife. He was having trouble adapting to the lifestyle of living life by himself, but fortunately, he could cope with it. However, a spirit clearly wanted to make this struggle even more difficult, and did so by haunting the poor man. He had no belief or correlation to anything tied with the spiritual world, and you would not place money on him being a victim, but this is what happened.
Okay. Yeah, I've seen this cabinet before, but it hasn't opened since the last time I recorded it opening, because I walked into the kitchen to the refrigerator and I was walking past it and I got about right here and it went and opened behind me and scared the crap out of it. Got my heart thumping, let's put it that way. Because you don't expect that sound as you're walking by and so close to you, but it hasn't opened since, and I can jump up and down and it won't open. See, I'm banging on the floor and it still won't open anymore. I don't know, that's weird. And the refrigerator's been making a god-awful noise. It used to make another god-awful noise, like the fan bearings were screeching, and it was just such a loud whistle. Sometimes I just unplug it. But sometimes I could unplug it and plug it back in and it would stop doing it. But now it's making this, whoa! Okay, see, I didn't even move. I wasn't even moving. That's the first time that's happened since the last time. Okay, it's got to be a bed bearing, but I wasn't moving. Look at that. It's closed, and there's nothing on the edge. There's nothing on the edge that would, like here on this edge, that would push it out. And there's the magnet clip. See, that snap's closed. Alright. Fuck, see? That's the freaking noise. Oh my freaking god. Alright. Creepy crap going on in the house. Oh, man. Alright. I just wanted to show you that. And I got both of them. Awesome. At the same time. Whew. Still closed. Nothing. Come on, open it again. Let me see you open it again. Come on. I'll even move around. Jumping up and down, banging on the floor.
The first time this happened was off camera, as explained by Daniel, and it frustrated him that he was not able to capture it since. Furthermore, the other sound that I was unable to identify had also been bugging him, so both of these things added together definitely made him question things, to say the least. Regardless of his fear, he powered through this haunting until the end, and surprisingly, it stopped happening by itself out of nowhere. He was a very lucky man that this happened. The man who recorded our next clip has actually been in a haunter video before, and it was a very recent one on the channel. In this video, I explained that he had been living in the same home for 2 years, and prior to the clip that I showcased, not a singular out-of-the-ordinary event actually happened, making it odd that something did. This is why people believed the event would be a simple one-off scenario, and the house, and Ellen, would never encounter anything like this ever again. But to his dismay, these verdicts were wrong, and just 1 week later, this was captured. This time around, the event took place in his bedroom, and he heard clawing sounds coming from the wardrobe, which was what prompted him to record the incident. He is currently in talks with a ghost hunter to come and resolve his issues, but only time will tell if this is going to be a valid choice. Just like Ellen, Lean has also been seen knocking around on the channel recently, and his story just continues to get worse and worse. He was a strong believer in the paranormal and superstitions, and was thankful every night that nothing had happened to him. But one day, all of this thankfulness turned into fright. Whilst Lean was home alone, which he often was, a paranormal surge occurred, and this finally confirmed to him that all of these things that he had been buying into were in fact true. He quickly contacted an exorcist to resolve the issue, and after roughly a week, they managed to banish the spirit successfully, so you are probably wondering what happened after that. The truth is that we don't know, but several clips have emerged from the period whilst Lean was waiting for the exorcism, and here is another one.
3 de la mañana, me vine a la casa del campo, leí muchos comentarios que me recomendaban que me mude y me vine para acá para ver si el problema era yo, pero parece que me sigue porque se escucha, escuchando. Yo ya no, miedo ya no tengo. Y no hay nadie. El ropero de este es grandísimo, pero no, es increíble, pero parece que me sigue. La verdad, no.
In this one, he heard banging from behind the wooden doors and knew that something was peculiar. This is what tempted him to start recording the incident, and thank the heavens he did, because he managed to gain even more evidence of his struggles. This spirit was far from a chill one, but at least we can be thankful that Lean does not suffer from it any longer. If any more clips from this period rise, though, I will be sure to include them in future content, so subscribe. On September the 5th of 2024, Antonio was in his son's bedroom waiting for him to finish his shower. The details of the reason are unknown for obvious reasons, but the baseline knowledge that we do have is that the child was in trouble and Antonio wanted to sit him down and have a chat. He was waiting for what felt like ages and ended up sitting there playing some mobile games when suddenly he sensed something. Eager to see what it was, he took out his phone camera and started filming, and what he captured was terrifying. Take a look. The toy of the Toy Story character, Woody, somehow moved without any human interaction, and it was clear that no form of visible force had acted upon it. This meant that it was either the wind or a spirit, and after checking the weather on that date in his area, the latter seems more likely. We often see ghost videos on this channel that have been captured through the use of CCTV or standard household security systems, and these tend to be some of the most extreme. This is because when a spirit knows that they are being watched through a camera lens, they tone down their actions to leave room for mystery, in order to not fully blow their cover. But how are they supposed to know that a hidden camera is staring at them? The video that you are about to watch was caught using one of these hidden security cameras used for parents to monitor their children at night, and what it managed to get on tape was pretty disturbing. Have a look. First of all, let's cover what actually happened in this clip. The child was innocently sleeping late at night when all of a sudden some form of poltergeist gripped him by the ankle and dragged him off from the bed. This was obviously disturbing because it is not every day that you get to see something like this, but on top of that fact, the victim was a literal child, which always adds a shame factor to the haunting. It truly was a tough watch. The following video was captured by a man called Komapip from Japan, and he is a well-known YouTube star in the country. His content revolves around the paranormal world, and the paranormal world only. So to say he has a lot of experience with poltergeists would be putting it lightly. He's beyond a level of expertise. In this video, he decided to visit a place in Nagasaki that was known for being a hellhole, and the people who entered rarely came out without some sort of interesting story to tell. And for Komapip, well, this was no different.
この全てがそのまんまな感じ。寝室か。勉強机。お子さんがいたのかな。お風呂ですね。物がね、山積みになってます。まあ情報通りあまり大きな家ではないみたいだけど、にしてもちょっと物が残りすぎてて逆に不気味だな。カレンダー、2007年4月、14年前からこの状態ってことですね。まあ確かに置いてあるものが時代を感じるというか VHS だもんね。ちょっと待って足音がする。人がいる。2階に人がいる。マジか。どうしよう。出るか。いやでも気づいてるはずだよね。こっちに。誰かいますか？もしここで寝泊まりとかしてるんであれば返事してもらってもいいですか？すぐ出ていきます。誰かいますよね？もしいらっしゃるんでしたら、壁とか叩いてもらったらすぐ出ていくんで。
I included quite a lot of his general exploration in this because I felt that it was important for you to get a feel of the haunted house, but towards the end, a stomp from upstairs could be heard. After this, Komapip stood silently at the bottom of the stairs, flashing his light up there in case of any sudden movement, but to his dismay, it never came. He did catch another paranormal event that night, though.
何もしないんで。え？ 上がりますよ。ちょっと。誰かいますか？いたらすぐ出ていくんで、何もしないんで。すげえものなのこれ。なんだこれ。誰もいませんか？これ。うわっ、包丁？くそ。ちょっともうさ、いやマジで誰かいますよね。いやもうちょっと待って、いや本当帰るんでごめんなさい。くそ。何もしないんで、脅かすつもりとかはないので、ちょっとだけ見て帰ります。くそ。足が悪い。誰もなんちゅうけど。
This time around, he found a terrible sight in a knife being inside of a table, and it was followed by the ding of a bell, which was likely the ghost attempting to make its presence known, and it did a darn good job. After this event, Comapip called it a day, and decided that he had garnered more than enough content for one day, leaving the vicinity. At 3 a.m., anything ghost-related can happen, and this is because it is what we know as the witching hour. However, some ways in which these ghosts express themselves can get very unique, and this happens on many different occasions, including one that I am about to show you. It happened whilst Val and her boyfriend were calling somebody, but to their dismay, the incorrect person picked up from the line and then all hell broke loose.
Hoy vamos a hacer llamadas de terror a las 3 de la mañana. Estamos en un hotel que supuestamente hay espíritus.
Se supone que aquí era un hospital antes.
Así que pueden pasar cosas. Continuamos con la llamada. Le estamos marcando otra vez. Bueno. ¿Te podemos ayudar en algo? ¿Ocupas ayuda? ¿Quién eres?
¿Qué pido, Valeria? ¡Cuélgale!
Le empezó a decir el nombre de Diego, creo.
Vale, ya.
No. Cierra, güey, neta, cierra. Cierra. Uy, no, túmbate el rollo, estoy marcando eso. Uy, güey, tengo miedo.
First of all, a demonic voice started playing down the microphone, and both Val and her boyfriend were justifiably frightened by this sudden evil sound. Next of all, though, the lights began to flicker, and it was all topped off with some sort of shadow figure standing through the peephole of the door. Out of fear, the couple went to sleep, hugging very tight that night. But the next day, with regained confidence, they sat down in the same area to see if anything would happen again. Did it? Well, watch and find out.
Oigan, no sabemos qué pasó. Literalmente, Diego y yo estamos solos en el cuarto. De madrugada no hay manera en la que haya sido otra cosa. Güey, nos están pasando cosas muy raras.
Ya apaga eso, man.
Vamos a literal salir al pasillo porque están tocándonos la puerta horrible y ya tenemos mucho miedo. Vean, o sea, esto está...
Me siento raro, vale.
Los pasillos están... Espérate, no corras, espérate, Diego. O sea, vean los pasillos. Uy, no.
The lights flickered once again, and this time they both sprinted out of the apartment room. Unfortunately, the hauntings followed them to the outside, and after a long and hard thinking session in the car, they decided that it would be best to move to a new apartment complex. The following video was recorded by Stuart, a regular bloke who did not believe in paranormal activity in the slightest. Stuart was going through a tough time in his life because his ex-girlfriend had just broken up with him a few weeks back, and furthermore, he discovered that she passed away from some form of illness. He put two and two together, working out that she broke up with him to feel less guilty when she passed away. But if anything, this made him feel far worse. Anyways, a week or so went by after the death, and Stuart was relaxing in his home. He had noticed quite a few strange things happening over the past week, but none were as bad as what was about to happen.
Just kind of gotten used to it. I kind of believed that it was my ex, honestly. It's kind of ramped up lately, and I got this SLS camera now, and there's been noises coming from over by my desk and stuff falling off the desk constantly. So I'm gonna see if I can capture something. Okay, I've got this SLS thing, and I've been hearing stuff's been getting knocked off this desk for like 3 days now. What the fuck? What? Fuck. You gotta be kidding.
His SLS camera picked up a lot of movement in the kitchen, but this was an unreliable source, so we cannot trust it. What happened that was trustworthy was when an item fell from the counter without any sort of reaction, and fortunately, Stuart was able to capture this happening, proving that he was not living a normal life. The time was midnight, and a couple of security guards were monitoring the perimeters of the office that they were in charge of keeping safe. Just outside the office was a kids' park that was extremely popular with the locals and was usually bustling with life. But of course, when the clock strikes 12, all children-focused places are meant to be desolate. Not this one though. Whilst there were no people in sight, the guards saw something unexplainable that night and have felt spooked on the job since. Have a watch.
Pato, pato, pato.
Ah, Carlos.
Weón, mira. Mira, weón.
No, se ve nada. Mira los pies.
Mira, weón,
Mira
mira.
los pies,
Mira,
mira los
weón.
pies.
Mira como, mira, weón, de fuerte. Weón, mira, y no hay ni viento, mira, nada.
Mira la sombra. Me chulo, no se me dio miedo.
¿Cómo
Mira la
se
sombra,
vale, weón,
weón,
weón?
parado ahí,
Weón.
apuesta la sombra.
Weón.
Mira la
¡Qué
sombra, el
madre!
weón parado.
Mira, weón, se ve claramente, mira, mira, mira.
Sí,
mira.
un weón parado, culiao.
Mira, weón, se está cagando.
Me chulo, ahora se me dio un poco, weón.
Weón, ahora sí.
The swing on the left somehow continued to swing by itself, and it is safe to say that it was not windy. On top of this, there were a few moments in this where the swing had too long of a standstill air time, making it impossible to have happened without some form of exterior force. It was pretty obvious that this exterior force was a spirit. Josue was above a supermarket for an unknown reason, but he had no idea that he was about to witness a spirit performing its acts. The time was very late, and due to the lack of customers, we can assume that the place was closed for the night. There was an eerie feeling according to the male filming, and he felt a cold tingle shiver down his spine, but he decided to ignore the signs and stay put. This led to the following being caught on tape. It all started with strange noises all around the supermarket, as if things were dropping and sliding out of sight from the camera. Next, some items in the frame fell to the ground, and a shopping cart slowly drifted down the hallway as if an actual human was pushing it along. All of these things put together made for a scary paranormal string, and Josue was pleased to get out of the place without being harmed. Like our last clip, this one was also captured in a supermarket, except this time it was confirmed to be a staff member, and they were a cleaner. Now he hated his job as the cleaner because the pay was low, the task was boring, and the hours were frustrating. But due to his position, he had no choice but to follow the job. He always wished that something entertaining would happen one night to spice things up a little, but day after day, this extra spice never came. When it did come, however, he wished it never did.
Pinche huerca traviesa. Ahí deja ya. ¿Dónde se atraviesa? Ya vete a dormir. A mí se prende las luces. Otra vez. Ya vete. Dale, a dormir. Pinche huerca traviesa. Ahí deja ya. ¿Dónde se atraviesa? Ya vete a dormir. A mí se prende las luces. Otra vez. Ya vete. Dale, a dormir.
For the entirety of his shift, the cleaner felt an odd presence and even claimed to have heard some ghostly sounds echoing down the corridor. For a while, he assumed that he was just bored and inventing scenarios up inside his head. But when the shopping trolley began to edge towards him, he knew that something was up. He sent the clip to his manager and used it as an excuse to finish work early, and luckily, she bought it and allowed him to keep his pay for that day. The supermarket are currently in the process of finding a resolution to this issue. Donna Ayers is a woman that subscribers of my channel will have heard the name of on several occasions, and this is because of the sheer amount of paranormal events she has experienced and published. You are probably wondering why she hasn't been able to get rid of this entity that has haunted her for a couple of years, and the truth is that she doesn't want to let it win and show that it has frightened her. This specific clip that you are about to see was captured on December the 12th of 2014 and was initially a small vlog to update her audience on the hauntings. It did not take long for it to become a documentation of an actual haunting though.
What I got on the iPad, onto Facebook and onto my page. Please like and share and comment and feel free to say what you like. Just no foul mouths and people that like to comment nasty stuff, please, or you'll be blocked and taken from the site. I'd like to say it's absolutely freezing in here. I keep going hot, I keep going cold. I could feel a presence in here right now. Not many believe me. I can feel something on my neck. Don't know, but I can feel something. It's quite scary actually, because being alone, my partner didn't come round till later tomorrow, so I have to put up with all this going on. But I've managed to get quite a bit, so I just hope it's okay for you guys. I'll just keep posting as it comes. We'll do YouTube and I kind of just froze on the spot. It's something moving my earring. Oh my god. I'm lost in. I've gone really, really hot. Oh, and I've got a real horrible breeze that's out of me. Oh my god. Please can you get off me? Please can you stop? In Jesus' name, please get off my earring. What the hell? Please stop. Touch what you want in my home, but don't touch me. It's messy, mate. I'm roasting out, going really hot, and I mean really hot. I feel a bit sick as well. Is it normal for spirits to touch a human? I mean this, oh, going awful feeling. It feels so dark. Oh, what the? No, you're not touching me.
Donna explained just before the clip started that there was a cold feeling in the air, and she was aware that the spirit in question was present. She was not aware, however, that it was about to mess with her within a 1 meter proximity though. Her earring started to drift from side to side, and this would be enough to send anybody into a state of shock. I do think that Donna was rather calm about the situation though, and handled it very well, considering the situation. She has still not showcased her fear towards the spirit in my eyes. Clayton was a gym rat, and I mean a mega gym rat. Whilst he was not the largest of people, he had spent the last year and a half obsessing over the gym and hyper-analyzing strategies to become tough. One day, he made the idea to start filming his fitness journey, and this was on the day that his Smith's machine arrived. He was going to film a simple short video doing the incline bench press, but just as he finished his second set, things began to take a turn for the worst.
And letting my body acclimate to, the physical fitness of it. That was weird. Sounded like a door closed. Hang on. I have to investigate. Oh yeah, I mentioned this in one of my other videos, but this door does not open. That's our HVAC system. As a renting tenant, I'm not allowed to open that. Do I really need to show you under the bed? You'd be surprised at what people think. Like, oh, somebody snuck under the bed, or, the fuck, hard to get an angle. Completely empty. But I still hear shit. That sounds like what I heard, actually. I'm gonna play that back for you guys. Physical fitness of it. Let's see. Yeah. Nah, I know you all heard that. What that was. This has fallen off before. But this has never fallen off by itself. Like you would have to force that off. It was weird. That scared the shit out of me. It was so loud. Yeah. The fuck, see?
He heard some strange noises from around the house and decided to follow them around. The noises were not the worst part, though. Once Clayton arrived back to the location of his Smith's incline bench press, the pin for the bar had somehow fallen to the floor, and this obviously could not have happened without a force acting upon it. Now, it is bad enough to interrupt a man's workout routine, but there is one thing that is arguably on the same level of messed up, and that is being disruptive during a gaming session. This happened to Clayton on the very next night, and it was arguably worse.
Just randomly started hearing stuff. First it sounded like footsteps. Just gonna give it a while, see if we hear anything else.
Sure how to help you with that. You don't have any notifications.
This time around, the highlight of the video was the closet door opening behind him on camera, followed by a lot of odd noises. Clayton moved house very shortly after all these events. Moving house can be one of the most stressful experiences in someone's lifetime. The amount of effort and coordination that it takes to move belongings, sell the house, and familiarize yourself with a new area makes it a highly difficult thing to do. Now, with all of this on your plate, the last thing you would want to jump on the bandwagon would be a spirit making the task even more difficult, right? Well, unfortunately for this couple, this was exactly what happened to them.
Hi. So, we've been rearranging furniture today, vacuuming, and I have no strings on this whatsoever. I slam it, and it opens back up. I've had this piece of furniture for 6 years, and I've never had this happen before. It's trying to get our attention. It probably doesn't like that we're, moving things around and cleaning and vacuuming, and I keep hearing something. Yeah, so this is what happened. Take a look. No way. No way.
I swear to God. Close it in, close it.
I hope I recorded that.
Okay. Wait, are you recording?
Out there. I'll check on him. No strings. No strings. No strings on here. There's nothing underneath.
There's nothing. Just whatever. There's nothing that you can actually open the drawer.
Nothing back here. See? No strings. Nothing. You have to prove it. They won't believe you.
Oh.
Yo!
Oh my goodness.
What's up, bro? Oh, he's running.
Okay, what's happening? I'm freaking out. Bye.
We heard that that's a common thing when you're cleaning or moving furniture, that it pisses them off. So we think that's why it's happening.
They were in their soon-to-be old house packing items into boxes and preparing to officially hand the keys onto the new owners. But the man holding the camera noticed something strange. He continuously had to close a drawer, and every time he came back to it, it was open again. It was because of this that he began to record that clip. As he clearly said, nothing like this had ever happened to them in their years of living in the house, which made this a phenomenon that not even experts could explain. The couple decided to leave the drawer at the house as a complimentary item of furniture for the new family moving in. In the following video, a teenager called Joshua decided that he had enough with the poltergeist haunting his house and mustered up the courage to do something about it. For roughly 2 weeks, he had been seeing all sorts of weird things happening around the house, but unfortunately, he was unable to tell his parents because they never believed his normal pleas, let alone a plea for help with the paranormal. This is what inspired him to take his camera into the attic and attempt to gain undeniable proof for his parents, so that they would not deem him as insane. This is how that went.
Alright, can you knock that can down again? Like you did earlier? Oh, fuck. Oh my fucking god, okay. Okay, no more.
The spirit did as it was asked and launched the can to the floor without a moment of hesitation. Despite asking the ghost to do this action, Joshua still got scared, but after putting down the camera, he could not help but feel a sense of relief. After showing the video to his parents, though, the unexpected happened. They still refused to believe him and actually laughed at what they thought was a prank. Feeling down, Joshua went along with it. Would you have believed Joshua in this situation? Siblings eventually grow to love each other, but everybody knows in the early stages of life, they are the biggest rivals. This was no different in the household of Michael, who had 2 children, Scott and Olivia. One fateful day, both of them were sitting at the lunch table, and Scott thought that it would be a good idea to set up a camera and see what his sister would do to his food if he left her alone with it. Unsurprisingly, she had some of it, but that certainly was not the highlight of this video, as you are about to discover shortly.
Mommy. Bathroom? I go poo-poo. I go poo-poo. Let's go to dinner.
It seemed that Olivia was talking to some sort of ghost because no one else was in the room with her. Most people would say that this was just an imaginary friend though, or that she was talking to herself. But one subtle detail happened that managed to debunk this speculation. If you look closely enough, early on in the video, the fork on Scott's plate actually moved whilst he was gone, which of course should not have happened. This was what encouraged him to think that it was a poltergeist that his sister was talking to. Most victims of paranormal activity are traumatized for life and will never put the experience past them, but the young child in the upcoming piece of footage was quite the opposite. While he was initially scared and had to take a step out of the room for a breath, he handled the situation pretty well. And if any of you think you could have done the same, then wait until you see the clip, because that is far from factual.
Besitos. Bueno, hola jugadores, hoy estamos aquí en otro video. Como saben, yo soy Gamer. Estoy esperando a Brian Gamer en su casa. Mierda, se movió la caja. Me estoy asustando. Puta madre. La pala ahora. La caja estaba más acá y la pala se cayó allá. Puta madre. Ahora espero que no se mueva la bicicleta. No, se mueve la bicicleta. No, se mueve. No, se mueve. La caja de vuelta. No. Me estoy asustando, en serio. La puerta, vamos a cerrarla porque si no se va a enojar mucho Brian Gamer. Vamos a dejarla ahí. Puta madre. Aquí termina el video, nos vemos en el próximo video. Y vamos a esperar a Brian. Adiós, y cuando llegue le voy a contar. Bueno, ahora sí, adiós.
The fact that he remained calm after the situation was very impressive, considering that his bike was moving on its own accord and several items fell from shelves. After the whole incident, the boy left the house and locked it with his key before going to his grandma's and calling his parents whilst they were at work. They explained that he did the right thing, and due to them being believers in that kind of thing, he was not framed as crazy or anything of the sort. That was likely one of the happiest endings on this channel. The following series of videos were recorded by a mother called Rachel, and they are some of the spookiest and most unexplainable videos ever uploaded to my channel. A few days before this first clip, Rachel and her family decided to go to a local fun fair for their son's birthday. And of course, that meant they had to purchase some stuff for him. One cool thing that caught the eyes of Rachel's son was a set of balloons of the character Elmo from the Muppets. His parents bought it for him. Fast forward to the day after the fun fair, and Rachel started to notice that this Elmo balloon was continuously drifting towards the basement, so she took it upon herself to record this phenomenon.
Babe, come here.
Yeah.
It's the balloon.
What's going on?
It's just like keeps going down to the basement.
Still with that balloon?
Yeah.
What's it doing now?
It's like it wants us to go to the basement or something.
The fact that this had happened several times dented a small thought in the back of Rachel's mind that this was far worse than a coincidence. But not fully convinced, she decided to put off doing anything about it. At least it was stopping at the basement rather than going in. At least it was. The day after this video, the balloon began to start moving again, and Rachel was very quick to take out her camera and start filming the incident. Naturally, being attached to the balloon, her son stood up and started following the balloon, which surprisingly led to this.
Andrew.
Now that the boy actually followed the balloon, it did not stop at the basement door, rather continued going down it. Fortunately, Rachel was on scene to quickly run and grab her boy, so he didn't end up going down into the basement because who knows what it was trying to lure him into. Still though, beyond this point, Rachel had no belief that the balloon was being controlled by some sort of evil entity and had complete hope that all of this was some terrifying coincidence. Little did she know that the next clip she was about to capture was going to change her viewpoint for good.
It's doing it again.
The Elmo balloon did still make its way to the basement, but unlike the other times, this time around it stopped completely. This defied the physics of a balloon, because based on its momentum, it should not have come to a standstill so quickly, and this was what finally triggered Rachel to believe that she was going through a paranormal experience. As if this was not enough, though, it did the same thing again, except this time, it did it after doing something shocking beforehand.
Gabe.
Quiet. Quiet.
It's a creepy dude.
The balloon slowly walked up the stairs, as if it was a human, which was already enough to strike fear into both Rachel, her husband, and her dog. This was not all that she was about to endure, though. As the balloon neared the top of the stairs, the light turned off without any switches being flicked, and it came to a standstill again. After seeing all of this, Rachel went to her son and told him that she was not going to stand this balloon being in her home for any longer, but for some reason he still wanted to keep it. Because of this, Rachel and her husband had a long, needed chat about the next steps, coming to the conclusion that the balloon would naturally deflate anyway. Whilst this sounded like a good decision in the long term though, it meant that they would have to put up with Elmo for a little bit longer, and this next clip captures a moment where things became weirder than ever.
Hey, Andrew. Andrew?
The Elmo balloon was nowhere in sight this time, and whilst Rachel was in the room with her son, Andrew, some clattering noises were happening all around them. The weirdest part of this video was not even that though. Andrew did not even flinch when his mother beckoned for an answer, which led many experts to believe that he was possessed by whatever entity was controlling the Elmo balloon. This makes a lot of sense considering the Elmo balloon was not in sight during this clip, meaning the spirit could have easily left it. Unfortunately, we are going to have to end the story here, but I guarantee that Rachel's family and the Elmo situation will be further documented in my next video, so make sure to subscribe so that you do not miss it. The following video was uploaded to YouTube roughly 7 years ago by a young boy living with his parents like all children do. This meant that he did not make his own rules, and unfortunately had a curfew at 10 p.m. and abided by it. It was one night at exactly 10 p.m. that some strange stuff began to happen though. Before I show you the clip, there is a bit of backstory behind it. The doll was a purchase of the boy from a local garage sale, and there was not much left once he arrived. He wasn't interested in anything at the sale initially, but he felt sorry for the woman hosting the sale, who was clearly in a poorer position, so bought the doll for a cheap price. This turned out to be the worst decision of the boy's life. Have a watch.
Alright, YouTube. I was just sitting down, getting ready to go to bed, and the fucking music box up there just starts playing. Sorry, I'm a little sick. I was trying to rest, but, you know, after putting this fucking doll back on the shelf, that hand decided to fucking move, and I put that there just to, you know, maybe these two things talk to each other? But no, the old lady that this belonged to, actually belonged to her mother, and she said that she calls it squeaky because at night you could hear the doll squeak, which I did hear it squeak. Holy shit. Holy f***ing shit. Holy f***ing shit, did you guys see that? My f***ing hands are shaking. Sorry, let me switch the other hand. Holy f***ing shit, the f***ing hand just f***ing moved. This thing at night squeaks, and when I put it inside that f***ing chest, so I thought, you know, maybe I'll give it a second chance and, you know, put it back on the shelf. But clearly the thing wants to start the f***ing music box back up. Because, you know, that's a great idea, you know, just to stick it back on a shelf next to a creepy box and stick it next to a f***ing doll head. So, you know, that's a good job for me. I'm actually probably going to lock this thing back up. Its hand f***ing moved out more, dude. Screw that shit. You could stay up on the shelf, because you're not gonna f***ing turn on a music box like this motherfucker in my f***ing hand did. I'm getting the key to open up this chest, because, fuck that shit. You, Squeaky. You could stay inside this chest. I don't want to hear you squeak. I don't want to hear you making noise.
The first red flag was that the owner used to call it Squeaky because it tended to make squeaking sounds, and the fact that the boy knew this information before purchasing the doll makes him really silly and accountable for his situation. Whilst he was going to bed, the music box besides the doll started to play, and this of course prevented him from getting any rest, so he stood up to film the incident. As he was recording, the hand of the doll moved on camera, which was highly shocking and caught both him and us off guard. Finally, the head fell from the top of the cabinet, which was not having any visible force act on it, making this whole series of events odd. After the recording ended, the dolls were all locked in some chest-looking drawer, before we never received any other updates. We should be hoping that the person who experienced all of that is now safe and sound. Nothing beats the feeling of coming home from a long day of work to kick back and get on your gaming console with the boys. Whether it be a PlayStation or an Xbox, this is a feeling that many people across the world can relate to, including the man in our next clip. He was working a really late shift and could not wait until he was allowed to go home and play on his PlayStation 5. His job was in a fast food chain, so it was very unenjoyable, and the moment he arrived home, he pushed the power button. Strangely though, after doing this, he felt some sort of cold air brush past him, and from that point forwards, he felt really unsafe. Out of panic, he took out his phone and opened the camera app before hitting record, and you are about to see what he was able to capture.
There to go. And I come back and something is say something, I'm giving up on you. But anywhere I would have followed you. That's my kid, dude. Don't. You're not fucking serious. You're not fucking serious. I mean, it's nothing. Actually, how the fuck am I gonna get that back up? Goddamn. Jesus Christ.
For some reason, as soon as he started to record his surroundings, in case something bad happened to him, something horrible occurred. One of the pictures on his wall began to move without any human interaction, and this was not just any picture. It was one of his children. The fact that the spirit chose to tamper with that image must have had some sort of deeper meaning behind it, and the man couldn't help but think that they were in danger. He called his mother, who was looking after them due to his late shift, but no response came back. The chances are that she was just asleep and everything was okay, but due to a lack of future updates, we have no idea whether anything bad happened. On June the 9th of 2024, an unexplainable video was uploaded to TikTok that would disturb thousands of viewers. It took place in an Asian household where a man who was given the feminine nickname Fran lived alone. There were many perks to living alone, such as peace and quiet at will, but also many negatives, with no aid in emergencies being one of the main ones. I am not sure whether the video that you are about to watch would be considered as an emergency, but it was definitely enough to put poor Fran into a state of fear. The time was 12:23 p.m. and it had just turned afternoon when a seemingly normal day turned into one that nobody could even dream of.
Ya estás intentando molestar, ¿no? ¿Te puedes manifestar? Si quieres. No te tengo ningún miedo. Sí, ya sé que estás ahí. Manifiéstate. Cojones. Manifiéstate. ¿Dónde estás? La sangre de Cristo tiene poder. Me cubro con la sangre de Cristo. Vale, que sepas que no te tengo ningún miedo. Vale. Vale. Me cubro con la sangre de Cristo. Esto tiene el poder. Ven, este es mi día a día, señores. En mi casa, esto es lo que pasa. Pero ya cada vez tengo menos miedo, así que me come todo el cipote lo que haya aquí. Esta es mi casa.
Just as you would expect the chair to stop moving, it continued, and this was an unexplainable phenomenon. It was clear that no one or nothing was applying any force to the chair, so the force must have been an invisible one, and we all know what that means on this channel. Fran was experiencing a haunting, and if he doesn't do anything about it, he will likely have to go through this for much longer. Ghost hunting is an extremely dangerous job that comes with many risks, but with high risk comes high reward. The job pays a lot of money, which is why we see so many people partaking. But at the end of it all, is it really worth it? Meet the Midwest ghost hunter, an experienced and high-end hunter who every client would dream of having. The following series of clips comes from one of his hunts in a house known as the Boyd House, which is undoubtedly haunted. Have a watch.
Hello? Is anybody here? I don't know if you remember me, but I visited here before. Not too long ago. If you remember me, could you give me a sign? Minnie or Fred Eckhart? Are you here? I'm in your lovely home. Are you okay with me visiting? If you can hear me, could you make a sound somewhere in this house? It's awfully quiet in here to start. I'm not really feeling any. What the hell was that? Hello? Oh my god, that sounded like a woman's voice. I heard it through the headphones. It sounded like it was coming from in there. Minnie, was that you? Could you speak again?
the Midwest ghost hunter was purposefully attempting to get some form of reaction from the spirits who haunted this house, and due to his expertise, he managed to get one. After asking any entities in the building to make a noise, there was silence for a brief moment before the voice of a woman echoed down his headphones. The woman behind this voice was more than likely the one who passed away in the home and made it haunted in the first place. Just to be certain, though, the ghost hunter needed to continue this exploration.
If there's anyone in here, could you show yourself to me? Minnie, are you still in here? Could you appear by that radio that you turned on earlier? Weird. I got like an orb like right next to it. It's gone. That was interesting. Could you appear by the radio? Damn, I still can't get over that from earlier. That radio turning on. That was so insane. Is there anybody upstairs? Oh, I thought I heard a creak up there. Hello? Whoa, what the fuck? Dude, I just saw a fucking shadow. Holy shit. It was right up here. Hello? There was somebody standing like right there. Who's up here? I just saw somebody here. There was literally a dark mass standing at the top of these steps. I saw it in the flash of the camera. I'm gonna look and see if I can find it. Oh my god, what the fuck is that? Dude, it's right there. It's like a shadow. I caught that in the photo.
I managed to capture this photo of a dark humanoid mass standing at the top of the staircase. Notice how the figure is transparent and possesses non-physical qualities. Was this the spirit of Fred Eckhart staring me down from above?
Besides claiming that the radio managed to turn itself on, this video had undeniable proof that someone or something was in the house alongside the man. Whilst he was taking photos of almost everything he could, he caught a human outline in shadow form at the top of the stairs and decided to check the camera gallery to be sure that he was not hallucinating or anything of the sort. That shadow was in fact real and enough to instill fear into anybody. If it was able to frighten the Midwest ghost hunter, it would have frightened you for sure. Emily and her dog Rosie were both home alone, waiting for the man of the house to arrive, when a very peculiar event happened. The time was 10 p.m., and this was usually an uneventful period for Emily, who had normally finished her work for the day and spent the time relaxing. This time around, things would be far different though, and it would all be centered around her little dog, Rosie. They were both listening to music and doing nothing at all when this disturbing video was captured on camera.
What the f***?
Some sort of shadow reached out for the dog, and if you look closely enough, it seemed to be the paw of a cat. The annoying thing about paranormal events like this, though, is that you can never be too sure that it actually was a ghost. So Emily and her family could not seek assistance due to a lack of liable proof. But if something else happens in their household, I will include it in one of my videos, so subscribe. The following video was another ghost hunting expedition which was carried out by two British men this time around. They were visiting a house without much research behind it, and the only link to the paranormal was a note that the old owners left claiming that it was haunted, but it was definitely worth a shot for some content. The duo set up some cameras all across the household to be sure that they did not miss anything, and this plan definitely worked because once they left a room, this happened.
We need to just get on with an investigation. Should we get some equipment?
Yeah.
I'm going to stand in here, just in case.
Yeah, good idea.
Just in case.
Yeah, good idea. 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 Yeah, good idea
Shall I leave my camera in here for a bit? No. Did you not hear that, Ben? That was in there again. The camera's in there. No. Did you not hear that, Ben? That was in there again. The camera's in there. I don't know why I said no. Like.
Okay.
Like you're a dog or something. Oh. Just stop. Stop. Hello? There's someone walking towards me. I swear to God. What the fuck? Just stop. Seriously. I don't know if I can just hear like the remnants of of me walking through now, but yeah, almost clear as day. Like not even heavy. I'm gonna leave my cat. What? Let's get. Jesus Christ! I feel mental, don't you?
Do you know what? It's gone so mental that I don't even feel like we've got the right equipment to pick this up. What do I use?
I don't know. Should we rethink?
The man wearing a cap heard something drop to the floor from the other room, and fortunately, the camera also picked up this sound. He decided to double back and investigate what could have caused the sound, and he swore that some footsteps were heading in his direction. The camera did not manage to pick up these steps, but based on the reaction from the man, it is safe to say the story is believable. Bruno and his wife Soraya were both at home getting ready to enjoy a nice evening together. It was rare that they managed to get peace and quiet all night because they were the parents of 3 children, but fortunately they were all at a camp with their local scouting group, so Bruno and Soraya could enjoy themselves without any responsibilities. Soraya was sitting at the dining table flipping her son's toy skateboard, waiting for Bruno to choose a movie to watch. This always took a long time because he was so ridiculously indecisive, but before he could come to a decision, this happened.
Se movió la silla.
¿Leal?
Sí.
De las Jorge.
Tipo, este acá hay teta.
De las Jorge.
Soraya was clearly freaked out by all of this sudden activity and shouted to Bruno for help. She half expected him to have more of an idea as to what to do next, but he was just as clueless in this situation. We can only hope that they acted sensibly from here, because we have no more intel on the situation. If I could give you one singular piece of advice to take with you into a paranormal situation, it would be to not tell a spirit what to do, because this can cause all sorts of havoc. Just like humans, spirits take being commanded around as some sort of disrespectful and objectifying way to treat someone, so they typically get worse when given orders. The man that captured the following video most certainly did not have this knowledge with him, because he took it upon himself to encourage his haunter to push a can. Have a watch.
Guys, last night I woke up in the middle of the night and I heard some pounding. I think there might be a ghost in my house. I have a can set up right there. Hang on. Right there's a can. And I'm gonna see if I can get this spirit to knock the can down. So, here goes nothing, I guess. Remember, there's a can sitting right there. If there's a spirit here with me, I've put a can on top of my stand. Can you please knock the can down? Oh my god. What the fuck, guys? Oh my god. I'm fucking shaking. There's the can. It was sitting right there. Like and subscribe for more.
Now the ghost did end up following this order, but based on future updates, the hauntings became much worse after this incident. The man who filmed the video is currently in the process of moving out from the house due to the sheer amount of activity, and who knows what he will do next. Experiencing paranormal activity is definitely rare, but experiencing a sequence of activity is far more impressive. Sometimes ghosts must have way too much anger inside of them because they do multiple things during one haunting sequence. Fortunately, our next victim, called Zachary, managed to capture his haunting sequence in 4K, and it actually took place within the premise of his work. He worked in a factory, and at the time of the incident, he was down in the storage room doing some tasks. Luckily, he was filming a video for his friend to showcase how boring his job was, and if it wasn't for that, then we would not have received this fascinating piece of footage. All sorts of crazy stuff happened down there, and Zachary was utterly mesmerized by what was going on. After ending the recording, he took no hesitation in evacuating the scene and informing his boss of the situation. The boss watched the footage and believed Zachary, but would not be able to do anything about it. Nothing awful has happened in that room since, but the memories still haunt Zachary every time he is forced to venture the area. Kira was an innocent woman who had never wronged anyone in her life, at least not to an extent that would have warranted a haunting. This is why she and everybody who knew her were so confused about her recent stories involving objects moving on their own, voices from right beside her, and tons of electricity problems. The stories were so unbelievable that her eldest son actually ended up booking some therapy for her out of pure worry, which was rather sweet. However, all sweetness was taken away when you realize she was not crazy all along. 2 days before her therapeutic appointment, Kira found motivation to prove she was not going insane because she didn't want her relatives to waste all of their money attempting to diagnose her. This is the context of the video of which I am about to show you, where she is clearly trying to catch the spirit red-handed.
Twice it has moved. I literally thought I heard something then. If there's anybody in here who can move the ornament under the TV stand, can you give it a little push for me? Or can you pull it, or can you pull it back? Just give it a little pull for me if you can just touch it. Oh my god. What the fuck? the fuck? That is, there's nothing on it. There's nothing on it at all.
After being politely asked to do so, as you should ask a spirit, it decided to move the ornament without causing any damage to it. And inside her head, Kira was having a party. She spoke to her sister and asked how to send the video to everyone, and she got help doing so. The fact that she knew little about technology led to everybody believing the video could not have been edited, and she was believed at last with the priest coming out to offer her help in the coming months. On June the 25th of 2024, Beto was simply trying to have a shower when everything turned against him. The time was 10 p.m, so a regular time for an evening shower. He had allowed his son to have a shower first because he had school in the morning, and it was finally his turn after waiting, but the relieving shower was clearly not meant to be, because immediately after entering the room, something happened that warranted Beto to take out his phone. It is important to note that no items, or the house itself, have had any paranormal past recorded, and this was a first-time event.
No sé si me muero.
This terrified Beto, but he made sure to film it for long enough so that it was undeniably real. He knew the power of social media, so uploaded it to TikTok, hoping he was going to be the next big thing. Whilst he failed to become the next big thing, he did end up with 12,000 likes, which he was fairly happy about, but was worth a haunting, probably not. The worst paranormal experiences are always the ones that end up including children because you know that they will have done nothing worthy of a punishment at a magnitude of a haunting. They can barely grasp the concept of the real world, let alone the concept of the underworld, so you always have to feel bad. Well, in this clip, the family of 3 have a baby included, and an evil spirit refuses to let it get any rest. Take a look.
Vente. Le están tocando.
Sí. La niña empezó a llorar.
Ya no haga mucho ruido para ver quién es. No prendas. ¿Cómo rápido? Está bien inquieta, ¿verdad?
Sí.
Ya son casi las 3 de la mañana. ¿Dónde están las llaves? Hoy. Ahí quédate, espérame. No hay nadie. No hay nadie. No, uy, otra vez. No se ve nadie. Ya es nadie, Ceci. Yo creo que ya nos subimos a dormir. Ya. Vámonos. Vámonos porque igual le voy a enseñar la hora. Siempre pasa lo mismo. Miren. Son casi las 3 de la mañana. 25. Siempre hace lo mismo, ¿verdad? Ya vamos a... Voy a cerrar otra vez.
The loud banging really upset the baby, because for one, it will have had sensitive ears, and for two, at a time such as 20 to 3 at night, it should have been fast asleep. What made things strange was that the father, Amro, continued to open the curtains covering the window where the banging was coming from, and whenever he did, it stopped. Now, obviously, the house being haunted was a huge issue for the family. It's hard to skip past the fact that an entity of which nobody can see is taking your place as residents, let alone not letting you sleep. Things became much worse, however, when the father recorded this next clip, where he discovered that his car was also under the same effect.
Hijo de... ¿Viste? Ya, mamá, ya. Por la llave a la troca. ¿Ya vieron? Las 3. Las 3. Las 3. Siempre a la misma hora. Perdón, estoy algo nervioso. Sí, checa aquí. ¡Uy, cabrón! A ver, gente, esta camioneta está descompuesta. La tengo hasta enlonada, o sea, ya sé que no van a creer muchos, pero es lo que hay. Tengo que quitarle todo esto porque... Uy, clarito, vi algo allá adentro, ¿eh? Oh, pasó algo volando. La niña está alterada. Lo siento, no podía dejar la camioneta así. Uy, cabrón, me asusta esta cosa, güey. Esta camioneta realmente no sirve. O sea, sí sirve, pero vean, o sea, está desmantelada. Hace mucho frío aquí. Vean, tiene tiempo que no se usa, o sea, está toda polveada. Y vean si gira. Estaba apagada. Y aquí está la llave. Tiene tiempo que no la ocupamos. Ya. Me dice mi esposa. Está muy peligrosa esta zona, gente. Yo me voy a meter. Yo sé que muchos me dijeron que no tenía que abrir, pero ya no ve. Tienen que checar el video porque para mí que no que estaba en su lugar. Espérame, voy a amarrar. lo voy a meter, gente. Pues diario voy a documentar. Diario y pues bueno, ya me voy a dormir.
Despite the car not even being turned on and the windscreen wipers being completely shut off, they started wiping the car, which meant that some form of exterior force was forcing this to happen. Whether this force was a spirit or not, we have no idea, but considering that the knocking happened at the same hour, it makes a lot of sense. But if that still failed to convince you that it was a spirit that this family was being forced to handle, watch this final video.
Johnny, están tocando.
¿Ah?
Están tocando.
¿Quién es?
Nadie, mamá.
¿Están tocando?
Sí.
Ah, sí, no manches.
Escucha.
Otra vez, güey, a ver. Dame.
Sí.
A ver, aguanta. Espérame aquí, aguántame. No manches. Otra vez no. Son las 3 de la mañana, gente. Son casi las 3 de la mañana. ¿Qué quieres? ¿Qué es lo que quieres? Deja de molestar. Quiero que te largues. ¿Qué es eso? Oh, no manches. Oh, no manches. ¡Ceci! ¡Ceci!
This time, a visible apparition could be seen of the spirit, and it looked like some sort of ghostly skull, which is not what you would imagine a ghost to look like. Furthermore, at the end of the video, the father's tears were flattening live without any real reason to do so, which surely would have been a spiritual cause. The following video took place in an unknown location, and the lore to it is very suspicious because, well, there is not much of it at all. All we know is that the woman behind the camera felt some form of weird and chilling feeling trickle down her spine, so thought that it would be a smart idea to record, and she was correct because what she captured was disturbing to say the least.
Miren, esa camisa anda sola, chicos. Estoy con los pelos de punta. Mira. ¿A ustedes les parece que me puede pasar esto?
The clinical bed slowly rolled its way down the corridor towards the woman filming the incident, and she was very fortunate that it rolled on past her, like she was not there. This would have been much spookier if it had come to a complete standstill or came back towards the camera at the end. Due to the object being a clinical bed, most people theorize that this took place in a hospital of some sort, meaning that the chances of this being a spirit would have been very high. Norwich CT State Hospital was a place that had no previous records of paranormal activity, which is a pretty clean record considering it was a hospital. One day, a guy and some of his friends decided to visit an abandoned section of this hospital late at night to try and prove that this place was in fact haunted, and after the video that they managed to capture it, is safe to say that they got their proof. The video took place at 2 in the morning, and the man filming explained afterwards that he had never felt a fear like that in his life, and furthermore, he could not sleep for days. Take a look.
That's not my phone. That's not my phone. You heard that, right? I don't know. You heard that. Dude, I swear. Dude, I swear to God it wasn't me. Oh my God, look at that.
To start the clip off, the group hear the voice of a female, which meant that it could not have been any of them, since they were all men. This creeped them out, but of course, it could have been one of them playing a silly prank, so they did not consider it to be too much of a threat. However, when the camera panned to an opening in the wall, a lanky white figure peeked into the building before noticing the camera set up and ducking back behind cover. This was a rare capture of an apparition, and a frightening one to say the least. This next video is going to have one big question that I am going to allow you guys to be the one to solve. Was the man in it crazy, or was he seriously experiencing something caused by entities from the underworld? It was very late at night, and the security guard, Matt, was on duty making sure to only allow legitimate patients into the clinic. They only accepted booked appointments at this time of night, so it was crucial that he did his job correctly, and in his mind, he did. However, the cameras said otherwise. In his mind, Matt was accepting a poor patient into the hospital who needed a wheelchair to enter, but in reality, he was really the victim of a poltergeist. As you can see, Matt believed that he was doing his job, but one glance at the camera told everybody that this was not the case. Matt must have witnessed a spirit which took the form of a human and was unfortunately invisible to a camera. When Matt was made aware of this, he stayed adamant that he was doing his job, but after seeing the CCTV footage, even he double-questioned himself. This remains one of the more unsolvable mysteries on this channel, but be sure to leave a verdict in the comments as to whether Matt was genuinely going insane or if this seemed to have a spiritual cause behind it. Most spirits will at least try to keep their acts subtle and leave a bit of mystery behind them, but the poltergeist in the following video did the exact opposite. It must have been on a mission to make itself as noticeable as possible, because if anybody in the room missed it, then they would seriously have to be checked for blindness. It took place in a nurse's clinic, and at the time she had no patients with her, so she was just enjoying her little break on her phone. The spirit present clearly didn't like the idea of her having any fun though, and decided to do this. All the ceiling tiles moved almost in unison, and the nurse made sure to take out her phone to capture what was going on. To her surprise, the spirit did not stop when she started filming it and supposedly started moving the tiles at an even faster rate, which was a very peculiar phenomenon indeed. Clocks can be annoying sometimes. From getting themselves stuck to being a few minutes off the actual time, people constantly have to readjust them if they want their clocks to be perfect. Many would think that this was a problem only humans have to endure though, and that would make sense considering we invented them. However, little does anyone know that spirits are supposedly just as time-conscious as we are, as shown by this clip that I am about to reveal to you. A clock in a hospital had been broken for weeks now, and due to all of the staff owning mobile devices, none of them could really be bothered fixing it. Fortunately though, a poltergeist decided to give them a favor and do the task for them. The clock began to spin around its axis at an unnatural pace, so the staff member on scene naturally started filming it. The part that made this clip surreal was the fact that the clock reached a standstill at the exact right time, meaning that something must have been behind this, and it could not have been a shock coincidence. After the recording ended, the nurse decided to thank the spirit, and nothing happened in return. Who knows what the spirit's motive was here, but at least it was offering a helping hand, rather than intentionally causing fear. Unlike the rest of the clips in this video, our next clip was not captured by a staff member at a hospital, but a patient instead, and I am sure they will remember this experience for the rest of their life. The patient's name was Alex, and he had come to the hospital because he had broken a bone whilst at boxing, which would be detrimental to his progress in the sport, so it kind of sucked, to be honest. The ghost that took it upon itself to haunt Alex at this low had no filter though, because almost immediately after he took a seat, the video that you are about to see took place.
No hay nadie.
Somehow, the chair constantly moved in small bursts, and Alex was left speechless with the only option he had being recording the incident. After ending the recording, he went to the hospital's help desk and showed them the video as evidence of his story being real, but both of the receptionists told him not to mess around in a hospital and that they had more important matters on their hands. Were they in the wrong for saying this? Let me know in the comments. On August the 22nd of 2022, a mysterious video would be uploaded to TikTok that would spook all of the innocent viewers who stumbled across it. Like the rest of the short clips that I have featured in today's video, it took place in a hospital, except this time it was out at the back. The man filming the video was not a patient, but just a bystander who found this location relaxing and visited often. This time he had brought his pet dog with him for extra comfort and protection. Little did he know that the only disturbance that came his way would not be interceptable by his dog though, and especially not by him. Out of the blue, a wheelchair started to roll around as if it had somebody in it, which obviously it did not. The reason behind the wheelchair rolling like this is unknown, but most people suspect that an elderly person must have passed away in the hospital and found the wheelchair to make their way back home. Of course, this is just a theory though, and we do not know this for certain. Being a police officer is undoubtedly one of, if not the most dangerous job in the world. It involves hunting down criminals with the capability of causing mass harm to you, which is why we see these officers as the heroes that they are. Now, of course, they are highly trained in this field and are drilled on how to react to all sorts of threats. But in the following video, they came across a threat that no amount of training could save them from. This threat was something that people rarely experience, but these brave officers were unfortunate enough to come across, and it even caused one of them to quit their job. When they all saw the supposed door opening and closing, they immediately used their brains and went towards it. The likelihood was that this was the location of the criminal that they were closing in on, and despite it probably being a trap, they at least had to confirm his location. However, when they reached the area, they found out that the door was to a compartment that nobody could have fit inside, and no one was in the area. In complete and utter confusion, they looked around the area, hoping to find someone, but that never happened. The following video was captured by a worker at her local trauma center called Danny Renee. Her colleagues loved her for the fun and energetic vibe she brought to the workplace, and she was also amazing at treating the people who were admitted to her. One day, a patient expired in her clinic, so the room was cleaned, reset, and prepared for the next patient of the day. Furthermore, all of the wires were disconnected in the room, meaning that what you are about to see should not have happened.
is crazy. Very.
The pattern on the reader was very realistic, as if a patient was actually hooked up to the system, but of course, as nobody was on the clinical bed, no one was connected. Danya called down the information technology support team to come and help her solve what could have solved this mess, but they found no issues with the machine, meaning that it was genuinely reading what it was showcasing. This was a highly confusing event, because why on earth would a spirit choose to do something like this? Perhaps just to scare Danny, but it was very disturbing nonetheless. Young men will do all sorts of dangerous things to entertain themselves, and that is why you see videos on social media explaining why women live longer than men. The group of men in the final clip of this video were exploring an abandoned hospital in the dead of the night when they all saw something horrifying. They went into this hospital expecting the bare minimum to happen. Potentially, a few noises could occur, or maybe some weird shadow castings, but no amount of preparation could have gotten them ready for what they really had to go through. Have a close watch.
Multilemni.
Some sort of spirit was down there with them, and you could see its white figure across the tunnel. Many speculators believed that it was simply a weird casting of light that caused this figure, but based on the fear of the men, I highly doubt that this was the case. They all reported feeling lightheaded and ill afterwards, which just further leads me to believe that this was far more than a weird casting and something that needed to be taken seriously. Tim was a well-known ghost hunter from the United States who posted all of his findings to YouTube. Throughout his years capturing the paranormal, he came across a lot of events, but none were quite as spooky as the one which we are looking at today. It took place in the home of a rather wealthy family who could fortunately afford a ghost hunter to come and help them, and what he found definitely warranted help. Have a watch. Somehow, the bed glided across the floor as if it weighed nothing, and it happened without any sort of intervention. Furthermore, you will have noticed that Tim fell to the floor, and with his experience under his belt, this was very weird. Theorists claim that he was potentially grasping a form of force, and that he did not naturally collapse from fear, but he still refuses to confirm or deny this. However, this incident was not the only haunted thing that occurred during this adventure of Tim's. On top of this, it likely wasn't even the scariest. The video you are about to watch was so frightening that it ended Tim's ghost hunt completely and he was forced to go home.
chose dans une...
Strangely, the door continuously opened and closed, and it happened for quite some time after Tim ended the recording. It was evident that no strings or anything of the sort were attached to the door, and this was purely the artwork of spirits. Rocky and his girlfriend, who we do not know the name of, lived a happy lifestyle together and were dead set on staying together for life. There was one series of events, however, that made them double question these choices, and they were the presence of paranormal entities in their home. The upcoming clip came from their kitchen, and it is unexplainable, but if you can come up with a logical solution, then feel free to leave a comment.
Faire bouger quelque chose, je sais pas. Taper. C'est de frapper dans une porte. Dans la porte là, si c'est possible.
Le placard s'est ouvert.
Ah ouais, je viens de voir. Ok. Si c'est ta façon de communiquer, d'accord. Est-ce que tu es une femme? Tu veux communiquer avec nous? Est-ce que je... Il y a des bruits.
Il y a eu un bruit derrière toi.
Surveiller là quand même. Est-ce que tu veux que je m'approche? Franchement, je m'approche quand même. Je m'approche, mais si tu peux apparaître. Non, j'ai pas envie de... Calme, on se calme. Ok, je ne veux pas te faire de mal, hein. On veut juste que tu te manifestes, s'il te plaît. On n'a rien à faire là. Pareil, je sais pas. Ok, d'accord.
Pas l'air très agréable ce soir. Hein.
Bref, merci. On va stopper là, on va arrêter.
Ouais.
C'est mieux.
For some sort of mysterious reason, the cupboard started to open and close by itself, and dishes continued to fly out of it. Ghostly activities were not a new thing for Rocky and his loyal girlfriend, because they had started to occur ever since they first got together, but this experience was freaky for them nonetheless. Now, in case you don't believe that this was real, like many of the commenters on YouTube, they actually filmed another piece of footage which was just as bad. It took place in the same household, except this time around things were all over, rather than just in the kitchen. It really encaptivated the severity and scale of the situation, and in order to truly understand what Rocky and his girlfriend were going through, you must give it a watch.
C'est quoi ça? Qu'est-ce que c'est que ça? Qui est là? Ok. Est-ce qu'il y a quelqu'un ici? Est-ce que vous pouvez vous montrer s'il vous plaît? Oula. Manifestez-vous. Parlez-moi.
All around this room, things were falling and moving, and Rocky even claimed to have felt a wave of cold energy passing through him. It was after the recording of this content that they made the choice to put the house up for sale. They could not put up with the hellhole for any longer. The chances are that you have heard of the back rooms before. Just in case you haven't, they are a confusing and haunting series of rooms designed to frighten the living hell out of people. Now, of course, this place is nothing but fictional and just meant to be interesting for its fan base, but sometimes we come across things close to it. For example, our next clip. It took place in a hospital with a similar design to the rooms, and it definitely gave off similar energy. Fortunately for us, a member of staff at the hospital was able to film the area late at night and expose this to the world. Doors closing, items moving, and an undoubtedly cold feeling were all present that night, and the doctor behind the camera was scared out of his skin. After the event, he begged his boss to call a meeting for all of the staff to gather and watch the clip that he managed to obtain, and they were flabbergasted. They continuously beckoned him to reveal that it was some sort of prank, but he was adamant he caught what he did, and eventually they bought into it. All the workers united and asked for higher pay from the manager due to them putting up with the paranormal activity, and to their pleasure, they were granted it. There are a lot of reactions you can have to being haunted, and the video that we are going to look into next is not a good example. It took place in Lucy's house, a divorced mother whose children were staying with their fathers for the weekend. She always felt unsettled whilst this was happening, because she had a constant fear that they may decide they love him more than her. However, on one fateful night, this would be the very least of her worries, because a guest from the underworld was overdue a visit.
I'm just sitting here trying to record it happening again, because I keep getting really freaked out. This is such a waste of time. Whatever you are, leave my fucking house now. What the fuck? What the fuck? What the fuck? Oh my god. Oh shit, sorry. Fuck. Oh god. Okay. What the fuck was that? What the fuck, dude? There's nobody over there. There's nothing over there. Holy shit. Okay. What the fuck?
For the entirety of the day, Lucy was putting up with high activity levels, and eventually, she thought she might as well take out her phone and see if she could get any sort of proof. Whether you count this as lucky or not, the ghost did in fact show itself, and he had enough evidence to prove to ghost hunters that she was in need of help, but this was, of course, at the cost of fear. Children are a sign of innocence and purity in most aspects of the world. But when it comes to the world of the paranormal, they can be the most demented and twisted spirits in the world. Most of the time, if a kid has taken the form of a ghost, it means they unfortunately passed away at a very young age and have a vendetta against the world. So their hauntings can be pretty vicious, and that was the case for the haunter of Josh. Josh and his family had heard loads of kids' noises from the basement, and every time they went to investigate, it stopped, followed by the rocking of the wooden horse. One day, Josh was able to get the phenomenon on his camera.
Not again. Hello?
Hello? No, I don't think so. No. I'm done. I'm done. I'm done.
As you can see, the lights were flickering at a rate which could not have been an electrical issue, and the wooden horse was rocking in a way that it would if a human child was using it as a toy. On a whole, this was not a good experience for Josh, and he plans to take action in the near future. Suggest some routes for him in the comments. On February 11th of 2025, a short video was uploaded to TikTok that would perplex even the most expertised people in the paranormal industry. If it managed to do that to the experts, then you can only imagine how confused and terrified the staff member at the facility, Joyce, was. It all started when she heard a repetitive knock coming from a door for a room which was supposed to be empty, and when she went to investigate in the emergency that a kid had been locked inside, she found something else in the interior.
Grabado por guardia de seguridad.
Something or someone was knocking on the door, and it was evident that whatever it was not visible. Joyce explained after the incident that she saw some sort of figure on the other side of the door, but no matter how many times I scanned the video, I could not seem to find any evidence of this. Of course, if you want to take a look though, feel free to watch the clip for a second time. If I am right, and nothing was there though, then it is safe to assume that the spirit was not visible on a camera, which is actually more common than you think. The following video took place in Newport, Kentucky, and even managed to stump Redditors, which always seem to have an answer to questions. The building where the video was taken has gone through several phases, starting as a thriftway, then going vacant, then becoming a hardware place, and at the moment of the video, it was vacant for a second time. The important thing about vacant buildings is that nobody is paying the electricity bills for them, because why on earth would they? If they are no longer using the facility, then they would just be draining their bank account for no apparent reason, which makes this piece of footage weird, to put it lightly.
Okay, so this place is abandoned. It's been abandoned for a little bit, but tell me why this back room here. This used to be the thriftway back in the 90s, but check this shit out. I've walked past here multiple times. Why is the lights inside here flickering, especially this one? It's weird as fuck. But as many times as I walk past here to go other places, I've never seen this. That's weird as fuck, isn't it? Even that back light back there is flickering, and they're flickering in different intervals.
First of all, if nobody was paying into the electricity bill, then it would have stopped flowing into the building ages ago. And second of all, the man filming the video claimed that the lights were off every other time he passed the place. Furthermore, no new company had purchased the building, so it was more than likely that this was the act of a ghost. The following video was recorded by Michael on November 13th of 2023 at around 3:25 in the morning at his old farmhouse, which is over a century old and has a long history as a horse farm. At the time, Michael was just sitting in bed with his laptop playing bingo and the TV on in the background. Everything was quiet until he heard a strange noise outside his window. Initially, he didn't think much of it, but after muting everything, he realized the sound was still there. Curiosity got the better of him, and he went to the window to investigate.
My fucking heart is pounding right now. What the fuck is that? Oh my god.
Now Michael was clearly freaked out by this scenario, and you definitely cannot blame him. From the neighing of the horse to the ghost-like figure pacing his driveway, this was a surreal experience, and we are all very lucky that we have never gotten into a similar scenario.